You cannot be compelled or required to make any kind of statement. You cannot be required to answer questions, and you cannot be required to submit written paperwork that has your signature, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. You understand you have that right, Ms. Franklin,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Hernandez.
Yes, sir. Can you hear me?
I hear you now. On both of your cases.
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Limon.
Yes, sir.
All right. Each of you has the right individually to a jury trial. That means that you and your attorney and the state could select 6 people from a pool of disinterested citizens. Those 6 people would hear the entire trial, all the evidence, the materials, everything presented, if any, and they would decide whether you're not guilty or whether you have been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. That's the right to a jury trial. You understand you have that right on 2 cases, Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Limon on yours?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Franklin on yours?
Yes, sir.
And Mr. Reisinger on your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, each of you has the right to confront witnesses. Now, what that means is that if any of you decided to go to trial on any case you have, the state would have to try and prove your guilt by using witnesses. Each of you and your attorney would have the right to question, cross-examine, or challenge any witness who would testify. That's right. That's called the right of confrontation. You understand you have that right, Ms. Limon?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Reisinger?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Hernandez on your 2 cases?
Yes, sir.
All right. Each of you has the right of appeal. Now, this is a little bit of a difficult right because it's technical. It's a right that you and your attorney could demand after all the dust settles, the case is over. You could demand that a higher court review the official record and all the evidence in your case for whatever legal challenge you wanted to make. That right, you have to exercise it carefully because you have to have the right forms and the right information in those forms. And you also have to have, you have to be careful about time limitations. Are y'all hearing me okay?
Yes, Your Honor, I hear you.
Yes, sir.
You understand you have that right to appeal, Mr. Rising?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Ms. Franklin?
Yes, sir, I do.
Ms. Limon?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Hernandez on your 2 cases.
Yes, sir.
Now, each of you individually and the state, in each case you have the right to demand that this proceeding be held in the open public courtroom. Because of the COVID pandemic, we've not been doing that. Instead, we're using video conference, as you see us here on the computers. However, in order to proceed, you have to give consent for us to do the video conference instead of the in-person, in-courtroom proceeding. You understand you have that right, and so does the state. Ms. Franklin?
Yes, sir, I do.
Mr. Reisinger?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Ms. Limon?
Yes, sir.
And Ms. Hernandez? Ms.
Yes, sir.
Hernandez. All right. Now, in this proceeding, each of you has submitted written documents that have your signature. The documents in your individual cases that you signed, did you have the guidance, the counsel of your attorney in doing so? In your case, Mr. Reisinger, did you have the help of Mr. Gold or Mr. Simpson?
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Ms. Franklin, did you have the help of Mr. Royce?
Yes, sir, I did.
Ms. Hernandez, did you have the help of Mr. Bell on both cases?
Yes, sir, I did.
And Ms. Limon, did you have the help of Mr. Norton or Mr. Hillier in your case?
Yes, sir.
All right, now, these are all very important documents that you submitted. Do any of you have any question that has not been answered concerning the documents that you signed in this hearing? Ms. Hernandez,
No, sir.
Ms. Limon,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Franklin,
No, sir.
Ms. Rising,
No, Your Honor, I do not.
I'm sorry, Mr. Rising. Now,
Yeah,
each
it's
of
okay.
each of you has signed papers. One of the first papers, and a very critical one, is called Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights in Court's Admonitions. Did you review that document and sign it and understood it in your two cases, Ms. Hernandez,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Limon,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Franklin,
Yes, sir.
and Mr. Reisinger?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. There's another document that I have prepared for each of you that I certified to each of you that you have reviewed and signed. My certification to you in each individual case says that I certify to you that because you are participating in a plea agreement, this is a deal, an agreement, that because of that, you are giving up the right to appeal. Did you see and understand that, Ms. Franklin,
Yes, sir, I did.
Ms. Limon?
Sir.
Ms. Hernandez in your two cases,
Yes, sir.
and Mr. Rising?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Now, state, let's see, Mr. Reisinger is going to be granted probation. Is that correct?
Yes,
That's
Your
what we've
Honor.
applied for, Judge.
I'm sorry?
That's what we have applied for.
Okay, it's not deferred.
Correct.
Okay. Ms. Franklin is going to have deferred.
Correct, Your Honor.
Ms. Limon, what is she gonna have?
Deferred as well, Your Honor.
And Ms. Hernandez has, in her two cases, one is gonna be deferred, the other is not, or what's gonna happen?
No, Your Honor, they're both going to be straight probation.
Okay. Now, all of you have applied for probation with one kind or another. Ms. Franklin is gonna get deferred adjudication probation, but nonetheless, you have each applied for, requested to be granted probation. Deferred adjudication, I will address shortly, but probation of all kinds is a request that the court defer or simply postpone or probate any jail sentence. So if you get a jail sentence, if you get probation, that means that it's going to be postponed or held off so long as you each live up to your individual conditions of supervision. If you fail or refuse to live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, then the state may ask me to give you official notice and bring you in for a hearing. As a result of that hearing, if you have regular probation, then I can put you in jail for the amount of time that you agreed to in the original deal. For the, Ms. Franklin, in your case, in deferred adjudication, what's going to happen is you're going to enter a plea of no contest, which for all of you, your no contest plea is considered a guilty plea. And as such is sufficient for me to convict you. In the case of Ms. Franklin, she's going to enter a no contest plea, which is considered a guilty plea. But in her case, I will not find her guilty. Whereas on the other cases, I will find you all guilty and I will suspend the jail sentence in the case. So long as you live up to the condition of the deferred adjudication, Ms. Franklin, you need to be aware of something. If you live up to every bit 100% of the conditions of supervision, then the case will be dismissed and you're not guilty. There is no conviction on the charge that you're pleading to. Bless you.
Thank you.
If you fail or refuse to live up to 100%, then the state will ask me to give you notice, bring you in for a hearing. At that point, if I find the evidence is sufficient in my mind, then I can give you a conviction that follows you the rest of your life. And you'll be looking at a 100% of the range of punishment for the offense that you're pleading to. That means anywhere, let's see, what is that? Is that a Class A state?
On which case, Your Honor?
On the ABI on Franklin 65417?
Yes, Your Honor, it is Class A.
Right. That means, Ms. Franklin, that if you violate and we have the hearing and I convict you, you're looking at a fine anywhere from $0 to $4,000 and jail from 0 days to 1 year.
Yes, sir.
I will suggest to you that you want to be extra careful because when I get somebody that comes in here for violation of a deferred adjudication, which is a really beneficial program, I'm not too happy to see you, but I rely on the evidence. So do you understand what we're talking about, Ms. Franklin?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
All right. So let's start with Chastity Hernandez. State, you have motions on her case.
Your Honor, on 655915, the state has no motions. On 627324, the state would move to waive count 1 and proceed solely on count 2.
No objection, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Hernandez, what that means is that the state is proceeding to prosecute you on obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. To that charge, which is a lesser, and it's important that it takes that case out of the DWI category. To that charge, how do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
A no contest plea, as I have told all of you, and I'll repeat it, a no contest plea is considered a guilty plea and is sufficient for me to convict you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. Based on your plea of no contest and the evidence, I find you guilty. What is the agreement that has been reached, state?
Your Honor, her two co-cases are to run concurrent. They both have the same agreement and conditions, being 180 days probated over 12 months, $500 fine plus court costs, 75 hours community service, complete DOEP, DWI education course,
Complete what? Complete what?
the Drug Offenders Education Program.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. DOEP.
Yes, Your Honor.
Gotcha. Mhm.
DWI education, Victim Impact Panel Live, TAP evaluation, ignition interlock for half of the term, and submit to regular UAs.
All right. Ms. Hernandez,
Yes, sir.
to the charge of DWI in case number 655-915, how do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
Once again, I've made clear to you that a no contest plea is considered a guilty plea and is sufficient for me to convict you. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. So I accept your plea of no contest. Based on your plea and the evidence, I find you guilty. And I assess the same punishment that has been the agreement on both cases. That is, you're sentenced to 180 days in Bexar County Jail, suspended, probated for 12 months, a $500 fine plus court cost. You will perform 75 hours of community service restitution. You will complete the drug offender education program. You'll complete the DWI education program. You will complete the victim impact panel live. You'll submit to a TAP evaluation and the recommendations therein, subject to my approval. You'll have ignition interlock installed in your vehicle to which you have access for 6 months continuously. During those 6 months, you're not to drive any other vehicle other than your own that has the ignition interlock. You'll submit to regular UAs, that is urine samples for urinalysis under the supervision of the probation department. These two punishments run concurrent, one with the other.
Discussion on the interlock, Your Honor.
I'm sorry?
Discussion on the interlock.
Hold on just a second. I'll be right with you. Ma'am, how do you make a living? Do you, first, more importantly, do you have children that you support?
No, sir. And
No
I'm a
children.
waitress.
I'm sorry?
I'm a waitress, wait staff.
Okay. And what kind of income do you have on a regular basis?
I like live off tips, or I get paid an hour, but it's not that much.
No, I understand that, but your income is based on tips. So
Yeah.
on a month,
Yes, sir.
on a regular monthly basis, the average you make is what?
It's different. I'd say like 1,500 a month, 1,000 a
sorry?
month.
I'm sorry, say that again?
I said like 1,500 a month to like 1,000 maybe.
Well, there's a big difference between 1,500 and 1,000. I'll take you at
It's
1,500, but that's all right. Okay. The court will hear you, Mr. Bell.
Your Honor, as to the ignition interlock, these are first offenses. Ms. Hernandez does not own the vehicle. We'd ask first that you waive the requirement of the ignition interlock. If you so choose to have that requirement, we'd ask to do the Smart Start.
All right. Subject to the following. I want an affidavit from Ms. Hernandez that she does not drive at all. Secondly, I want a copy of the police report that identifies the vehicle she was driving when she was arrested for DWI. And whoever is identified as the owner of the vehicle, well, I'll ask right now under oath. Ms. Hernandez, who owned the vehicle you were driving?
It was my mother's car, but it's totaled.
Did you total it?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I want an affidavit from your mother, Mr. Bell, get an affidavit from the mother that says she does not have a vehicle, or if she has one, that her daughter will not be permitted to drive. Based on that, I will then order a portable alcohol monitor for those 6 months. I'll give you 30 days to get that all put together and bring it to me. And at that point, then we'll have installed the portable alcohol monitor. Are we clear, Ms. Hernandez?
Yes, I have that currently.
Okay. Well, good. So
Okay.
now you'll have to meet the conditions that I'm requiring based on the plea.
Yes, sir.
All righty. Good luck to you. Stay out of trouble.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Do I stay on Zoom?
Yes, ma'am. You have to, two
Okay.
things for everybody. Each of
Yes.
you has to come into the offices of County Court at law number 5. The offices are in the hallway around the back of the courtroom. And you have to have your thumbprint placed on the document that are required by law. In addition, you will stick around here now this afternoon. You have to meet with Maricela Luna, the court liaison officer, who will get you started with the probation department. The probation office is going to read to you each condition that you have, each one of you. And then you're going to sign those conditions, and then you'll have a copy put in your hands.
Mhm.
All right. Ms. Limon.
What did you assist supervisory fee out there?
Yes, sir.
Supervisory fee? for her?
Oh, Ms. Hernandez, your supervisory fee will be the minimum under law, which is $25 a month. All right? Anything
sir,
else,
thank
Mr.
you.
Bell?
Nothing further, Your Honor.
Thank you, Mr. Bell. I appreciate your patience. You've been all morning with us and then all the afternoon. Gabriela Limon.
Yes, sir.
Okay. What was the charge in her case?
Your Honor, it was DWI. The state has a motion to amend the information to add count 2 of obstruction of a highway and then waive and abandon count 1 and proceed on 2.
No objection, Your Honor.
There being no objection, the court grants this motion. However, do you waive the 10-day notice of appeal?
We do,
I'm
Your
sorry,
Honor.
the 10-day notice of amendment.
We do, Judge.
Very good. Let's see. This is going to be a deferred, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Limon, I have explained to you what a deferred adjudication is. You understand that, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. To that charge, to the charge of obstruction of a
No, they
passenger highway
freaking
or
take
waterway,
it forever.
how do you plead, ma'am?
No contest.
Again, a no contest plea is considered a guilty plea. You understand that on that plea, I could enter a conviction at this point.
Yes, sir.
All right. I will not do that because I will honor the agreement that has been reached. I find that there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not. I will honor the agreement of deferred adjudication. Now, State, talk to us about the specific punishment.
Yes, Your Honor. The term is for 14 months, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education program, victim impact panel live, or not live, just victim impact panel,
All right.
TAP evaluation, and ignition interlock for 7 months.
Mr. Hillier, is this the agreement that's been reached on behalf of your client?
It is, apart from the interlock, Your Honor, that was initially it was for Smart Start Mobile. I spoke to Ms. Pollard and the paperwork was filled out reflecting the interlock, but the agreement is the same apart from the Smart Start Mobile for half the term.
Smart Start Mobile. Okay. State, is that, I obviously will assume that that is an accurate statement.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Then with that change, that change in what was recited, is the rest of this the agreement that that's been reached on behalf of Ms. Limon?
It is, Your Honor, yes.
Ms. Limon, you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. I find there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, including your own plea, but I do not. Instead, I am granting you the deferred adjudication as per the agreement of 14 months, a $500 fine plus court costs. You will perform 48 hours of community service restitution, the DWI education program, the victim impact panel program. You'll have a TAP evaluation and the recommendations subject to my approval. You'll have ignition interlock for 7 months continuously. In lieu of that ignition interlock, you will have the Smart Start Mobile. And that will be subject to the conditions as I recited earlier. You're telling me under oath, ma'am, that you don't have a vehicle or don't have access to one?
No, sir. I do have a vehicle. I just work from home, so I'm pretty much home all day.
Well, I don't know that I approve then that you have the Smart Start Mobile. The fact that you work out of the house doesn't mean that you don't have access to a vehicle. And the
I do.
statute,
I just rarely leave the house is the reason why.
Your Honor, if I may approach, Judge, on that.
I'm listening.
Judge, Miss Limon does work from home. She owns her own vehicle. She also lives with her father. Her father also has a vehicle that I believe she has access to. I could be mistaken. So without putting the father to the inconvenience of having a device put into his vehicle as well, we negotiated with the state for a Smart Start, Judge. We just request the court follow that.
I'll do that with the sworn affidavit from Ms. Limon that she, in fact, will not drive any vehicle for that 7 continuous months starting today. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Hillier,
If it's good with Miss Limon, Judge.
pardon me?
Me.
You're the attorney. I'm addressing you. I want a affidavit as part of the condition of approving the Smart Start Mobile.
We'll have it, Judge.
All right. What do you do for a living? I hear that you're working out of the house. What is it?
I work for a call center.
And how much are you earning per month?
Per month. I mean, it varies in work. It's like a little over 1,000 every 2 weeks, so a little over 2,000 a month.
Okay.
Last year I made 27,000 for the year.
All righty. Your supervisory fee will be $29 a month. Mr. Reisinger, you were charged with DWI. My understanding that you intend to plead no contest. Is that correct?
Correct, Your Honor.
Now, my docket state appears to say that he was charged with failure to stop and give information. Are we certain of what he's charged with?
Judge, if I may, I believe they are dismissing that
It's going to be taken
in
into
consideration.
Okay, so which case is being taken in consideration? 617594 or the other one?
593 is the one that's going to be dismissed, Your Honor.
Okay. 593 TIC. How about that for poetry, huh? Okay. Mr. Reisinger, to the charge of DWI, how do you plead, sir?
No contest, Your Honor.
A no contest plea, as I have repeated several times, is considered a guilty plea and is sufficient for me to convict you. Is that understood?
Yes, Your Honor.
Did anyone threaten you, intimidate you, or promise you anything other than the plea, the agreement, in exchange for your plea?
No, Your Honor.
All right. Then, based on your plea of no contest and the evidence, I find you guilty of the charge of DWI. Was it DWI first or second?
Your Honor, it was charged as a second, but the state would move to abandon that enhancement and proceed on a DWI first.
Without
Okay.
objection.
I would think not. Abandon the second. That motion is granted. You are now the recipient of some largesse by the state, Mr. Reisinger, meaning that you're not pleading to DWI second. Understand that if you get another one, it's going to be a third and it will be a felony. Do you understand that?
I understand, Your Honor.
All right. Then I accept your plea and I find you guilty. And state, tell me specifically what the punishment is agreed to.
Yes, Your Honor. 180 days probated for 12 months. $500 fine plus court costs. 48 hours community service. Restitution to be determined to Marlisa Ragland, and I'll spell that Marlitha, last name Ragland.
Marlitha, Marlitha, and last
Yes.
name Ragland, just like
Yes.
the word rag and land. Okay. And is that a to be determined thing?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right.
DWI education program, victim impact panel, top evaluation, ignition interlock for 6 months, and the state would TIC 617593.
All right. Mr. Reisinger, tell me how you make a living. Do you have children of any age?
I have no children, Your Honor, and I work for an Amazon fulfillment center.
Already? And what are your earnings, monthly or yearly?
2,000 monthly, sir.
Okay. Is there any question about this being the agreement that's been reached by all parties?
Oh, Your
Judge,
Honor.
if I may briefly address the court.
Mr. Simpson?
Judge, Mr. Reisinger has completed the 2 classes that the state is recommending. We'd ask that those be considered to fulfill his obligations during probation. And also, Judge, the arrest date in this case was 6/22/19, which is coming up on 2.5 years ago. And he has had the ignition interlock throughout that time period. I believe he had 1 violation at the very beginning because he did not get it installed in a timely manner. But we would ask that because this is reduced to a first and it's no longer statutorily mandated, that you hold that in abeyance.
Okay. First of all, the class is the DWI education. You said it's completed,
As is the victim impact panel.
and the victim impact panel both. All right. As an officer of court, I accept your word on that, and we will give you credit for that, Mr. Reisinger.
Thank you, Judge.
I approve the basic punishment. I'll give some consideration in a moment to the other. On the DWI first, you're sentenced to 180 days Bear County Jail, probated / suspended for 12 months. You're fined $500 plus court costs. You'll perform 48 hours of community service restitution. You will pay restitution, if any, to be determined through the probation office to Marlisa Ragland, as spelled into the record. You will submit to a TAP evaluation and recommendations. You'll have ignition interlock for 6 months. I'll address that shortly. The case number 593-259, that is 617593. According to agreement, is taken in consideration and dismissed. on the ignition interlock. You've had it for 2.5 years, Mr. Reisinger.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Well, you made an agreement for 6 months. I'm gonna just go ahead and do it 3 months, give you credit for half that time. I just don't want you, after getting the other case, TIC, I think you've gotten a good bargain. Obviously, Mr. Simpson knows what he's doing and he's helped you. So let's give you 3 months. I'll give you 4 months, just 2 more months for you to use that. So 2 months to go. That way you get through the holidays and I can feel comfortable that you're not going to be, at least you'll have ignition interlock to worry about for Thanksgiving and Christmas. So I'm giving you credit for 4 of the 6 months. You'll have only 2 months left. All right.
Judge, one other issue.
Another one, Kyle?
Supervisory fee.
Well, Corey, what county do you live in?
I live in Behar now.
Okay.
Bear.
No more issues, Judge.
All right.
Supervisory fee.
Again, you have to report to the offices for your thumbprint and stick around so you can talk to Ms. Maricela Luna.
Supervisory fee.
The supervisory fee in your case will be $34 a month.
Thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. Take care. Stay out of trouble.
All right, same to you. May I be excused?
Yes, sir, but you can, but leave your client behind.
Yeah, Corey, the CLO is going to talk to you.
I appreciate
Only
it.
after you're done. Thank you. You
Yeah.
guys have a good week.
VIP.
Take care.
Send it to county court.
Ms. Franklin,
Yes, sir.
you two have been the recipient of deferred adjudication. Do you have questions about how I explained that?
No, sir.
All right, so to the charge of assault bodily injury, this is a class A, 0 to 4,000, and jail 0 days to 1 year. How do you plead to the charge of assault bodily injury?
No contest, sir.
All right, now for the record's sake, this is not a family violence, is it?
Correct, Your Honor. It's assault bodily injury.
Okay, all right. A no contest plea, ma'am, is considered a guilty plea by this court. You understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
And based on your plea, I could convict you here and now. You understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. I accept your plea of no contest. State, what is the agreement on punishment?
Your Honor, the agreement is for 6 months deferred adjudication, fine of $300 plus court costs, 24 hours community service, no harmful or injurious contact with Jennifer Franklin, and complete APSE.
Okay, now you tell me this is not a family violence, but the no harmful injurious contact is with a Franklin. Ms. Cynthia Franklin, what is the
Your Honor.
relationship between you and Jennifer Franklin?
Sir, it is my ex-husband's wife.
Ah. Okay. I will not ask anything else about that one. Okay, I accept your plea of no contest. I find there sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not find you guilty. Instead, I'm granting, in accordance with the agreement, 6 months deferred adjudication. You will pay a $300 fine plus court costs. You'll perform 24 hours of community service restitution. You will have an order of no harmful or injurious contact with Jennifer Franklin. You will participate in and complete the APSE program, which is an anti-anger program. You will appear in the offices of County Court at Law Number 5 within 1 week, so you can have your thumbprint affixed to the documents. And how do you make a living and how much do you make?
Sir, I work for a United States Postal Service, and I bring in about $40,000 a year.
All right. you're being, state you're being mighty generous, or what's the opposite of that? You're being mighty kind on the fine.
Children.
Do you have children that you support, Ms.
Yes,
Franklin?
sir. Yes,
How
sir, I
many?
do. I have
Mine?
2.
Minor children?
Yes, sir.
How old are they?
11 and 12, sir.
All right. Okay. I will, I don't mind telling you, with some reluctance, approve the fine. I am tempted to make it significantly higher. However, I don't know all the facts. I hear you saying that this is your ex-husband or your husband's ex-wife. Is that what we said? You said?
No, sir. My ex-husband's wife, current wife.
Ex-husband's wife. Okay. All right. I hope that y'all are both keeping the children out of this situation. I hope it ain't got nothing to do with y'all. Okay. I'll go ahead and prove the fine. I will tell you that if you come in here with violations, I'm not going to be too happy about that, because you'll be looking, if you violate and we go through a hearing and I enter a conviction, you'll be looking at $0 to $4,000 fine and jail sentence of 0 days to 1 year. Understand that?
Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. Your supervisory fee will be $43 a month. Do you have anyone else in the home that generates income?
No, sir, I do not.
Okay, so you're sole support for the kids.
Yes, sir.
Well, let me ask you another question. Are you getting child support from this ex-husband?
No, sir. The children reside with their father right
Okay.
now.
All righty. Okay, ma'am. You will have to report to have your thumbprint placed on documents, and you'll have to wait. All of 4 of you will have to wait for Ms. Luna so you can visit with her concerning the probation system. Any questions, Ms. Franklin?
No, sir.
I have one little question. You're not related to Tommy Franklin, are you?
No, sir, I'm not.
Okay, you used to be a county attorney down in Atascosa County. Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Stay safe, stay out of trouble. I think we're through with
No.
these 4. Now
Yes.
what we got?
Your Honor, if
Got
I
some
may,
more?
Your Honor, if I
Yes,
may, touch on the Pastor Hernandez matter.
No, no, Judge, that's not going.
No.
Mr. Vella had to do,
Okay, so who else we got now?
Ms. Collins, LaShawna Collins. Judge, I don't know if Ms. Luna wants to wait for Ms. Luna.
Yes, I'm here.
Are you
She
gonna?
got my text.
Linda wants to know if you got her text message.
I did get it, and I asked, and he's supposed to send it to me. Okay, thank you.
And you already talked to the people? You don't need to go in breakout
Yep.
rooms?
Yep, I already talked to, I'm just, talking to Franklin right now.
All right.
So if you want to put me in a breakout room with her, that's fine.
Linda, go ahead and ask him.
Oh,
Ken Bell,
Yes, ma'am.
why are you still here?
I needed to make sure the judge lifted the warrants on Ms. Hernandez.
Oh, you have to recall the warrants on Chastity Hernandez, Judge.
Oh, no.
He said no.
Don't say no.
So, I mean, if she pled, Judge,
Is this
it's
all she's got a warrant on, the pending cases?
on both cases.
Okay,
Just the pre-trial.
recall the warrant, please.
Thank you, sir.
Way to go, Ken. She probably would be walking out here and getting arrested, except for you.
Almost. All right, I'm
So-
gonna leave you guys be.
Miss Hernandez, did Miss Luna already get your phone number?
I did, Patty. I
Yes,
got
ma'am.
everybody
Okay,
Okay,
through chat.
thank you.
all right, Judge, so we're ready on the next.
And this batch,
Mhm.
all right. LaShawna Collins. LaShawna Collins, are you here?
Yes, Judge, I'm here.
Okay. You were charged with assault bodily injury. Then we have Jose Victorino Martinez. You were charged with DWI with extreme intoxication. Are you here, Jose Victorino Martinez? Jose Victorino Martinez.
Judge, I think that's Paul Acevedo's client and
Right.
they're in Paul Acevedo's office.
Well, you still got to answer. I ain't gonna. Paul?
Just to let you know, your video isn't on.
I'm sorry, thank you.
Okay, well, you'll have to wait. Robert Soto
There he
Jr.
is, Judge. Oh, no.
Robert Soto Jr.
Yes, sir.
Where are you, Robert?
I'm right here, sir.
All right. And Debril Crochet. Debril Crochet.
Joseph Lassen,
For whatever reason, he's not answering, so too bad. There are two cases on that one. Ms. Collins?
Yes.
Mr. Soto? And
Yes.
Mr. Martinez? Did Mr. Martinez ever show up?
there's Paul.
Paul, where's Mr. Martinez?
He's in my lobby. Will you send in Jose Martinez?
Yeah,
I'm sorry, Judge. I stepped away to use the boys' room.
well, is he here or not?
Yes, he's coming in. Jose, come on. One's dead right here. Here he is, Judge.
You gonna sit or stand?
He's gonna stand.
All right. With the three of you, that is Ms. Collins, Mr. Martinez, and Mr. Soto, would you raise your right hand? Where's Ms. Collins? There you go. Thank you, dear. All right. Do each of you solemnly swear that in this proceeding, the information and responses you submit will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Ms. Collins,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Soto,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martinez. Mr. Martinez.
Yes, sir.
All right, you may put your hand down. Before we proceed, I must inform you and remind you of certain rights and protections that you're afforded in this country. First of all, you have the right to remain silent. That means all three of you have the right not to be required to make any statements. You don't have to answer questions. You don't have to submit written paperwork that has your signature, especially papers that admit or confess to wrongdoing. You understand you have that right, Mr. Soto?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Collins,
Yes, sir.
you each have the right to a jury trial. That means that you and your attorney and the state could select 6 people from a pool of disinterested citizens to hear all the evidence, testimony, see everything, and they could decide for you whether you are not guilty or whether you have been proven guilty beyond reasonable doubt. That's called the right to a jury trial. You understand you have that right, Mr. Martinez,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Soto,
Yes, sir.
and Ms. Collins.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, each of you has the right to confront witnesses. What that means is, if you decided to go to trial, the state would have to try and prove your guilt. And they would do that by submitting witnesses to testify. You and your attorney would have the right to question, cross-examine, or challenge any person who would testify. That's called the right of confrontation. You understand you have that right, Ms. Collins,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Soto,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martinez.
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, you also have the right of appeal. That means that you or your attorney or the two of you together could demand, in a proper form, you could demand that a higher court review the official record in this case, all the evidence, everything involved with it, and demand and have the higher court answer on legal challenges that you would make. That right of appeal is a difficult one to do because you have to stay within time limitations. You have to use the proper forms and submit the right information. Nonetheless, the right to appeal does exist. You understand that, Mr. Martinez,
Yes, sir.
Ms. Collins,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Soto?
Yes, sir.
All right. Also, each of you individually could demand that this hearing be held in the open public courtroom. Because of the COVID pandemic, we're doing this by video conference, and that requires you to consent to doing it by video conference. Do you understand you have that right to demand a video conference, and so does the state? You understand that, Ms. Collins,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Soto,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martinez?
Yes, sir.
All right. Now, each of you has some papers, documents that have been submitted and are part of this hearing in this procedure. Those papers, you should have reviewed them and signed them, but with the approval or with the guidance and counsel of your individual attorney. The papers that have your signature, did each of you review them with the advice and assistance of your attorney? Ms. Collins,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Soto,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martinez.
Yes, sir.
All right. The first one we've already talked about. Each of you consented, signed a consent to the video conference. You also signed a document that is very critically important. That one is titled Defendant's Waiver of Constitutional Rights and Court's Admonitions. Those documents for each of you include repetition in writing of the different rights and protections that you have you acknowledge that you admit in there in writing that you're aware of those rights. That includes the right to remain silent, the jury trial, all those rights. You also are told in that document that whatever deal you made with the state, I'm the one that has to say yes or no. I'm not bound by it. You understand that is in those forms, Ms. Collins,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Martinez,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Soto.
Yes, yes, sir.
All right. There's also another document that's very important that you have reviewed and signed. It is a certification that I give you. That certification is called Trial Court Certification of Defendant's Right of Appeal. In there, I inform each of you individually that because you are participating in a plea bargain agreement, because you're making a deal, you're giving up the right to appeal. Did you understand that, Mr. Martinez?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Soto?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Collins?
Yes, sir.
All right. Do any of you have any questions about the papers, the forms that you have signed? Ms. Collins?
No, not at the moment.
Mr. Martinez?
No, sir.
Mr. Soto?
No, sir.
All right. Are you a U.S. citizen, Ms. Collins?
Yes, sir.
You are?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Mr. Martinez?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Soto?
Yes, sir, I am.
All right, all three of you. Very good. Okay. Now, we'll start with Ms. Collins. Ms. Collins, you were charged with assault bodily injury, a Class A misdemeanor. To that charge, State, do you have any motions?
On which case, Your Honor?
I'm sorry?
Which case?
On Ms. Collins, 614-535.
No motions, Your Honor.
All right. To the charge of assault bodily injury. By the way, State, this is not a family violence case, right?
Correct, Your Honor.
Okay. To that charge, ma'am, how do you plead, Ms. Collins?
No contest.
A no contest plea, as I mentioned repeatedly, is considered a guilty plea in this court and is sufficient to convict you. Do you understand that, ma'am?
I understand.
Okay. Now, did all three of them apply for probation?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are any of them getting deferred adjudication?
Yes, Your Honor, my client is.
Robert Soto is and Ms. Collins. Mr. Martinez is not.
So Mr. Soto is getting the deferred?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Soto is getting regular probation and Ms. Collins, she's getting what?
Ms. Collins is getting deferred.
Okay.
Your Honor, I think we're pleading on my case on 614-563, not 535. I think 535 is being TIC. That's what the paperwork showed.
Okay, 535 is being TIC'd, you said.
Yes, we're doing the plea on 563.
Okay.
It's the same charge, Your Honor.
Okay. For the record, this plea is on 614-563. And according to the recitation by Mr. Collins, 614-535 will be TIC'd. Is that correct, State?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. So to the charge, you have pled no contest. The court finds that there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not find you guilty. Instead, we're granting you deferred adjudication in accordance with the recitation that we are now going to hear.
Yes, Your Honor. The term of the probation is 12 months. Fine of $500 plus court costs. 48 hours community service. A TSE and no
P,
contact,
P like, yeah, okay,
AP as in Paul.
right, APSE,
Yes, and then no contact order with Lakeisha Mack, Lakisha Mack,
MAT,
C as in cat.
just one T. MAT, just one T.
No, Mac. MAC Charlie, K Kilo.
MACK,
K.
it
Yes, Your Honor.
is with a K,
Yes.
all right?
And also Eugene Collins, common spellings for both.
Did you get the first name, Judge?
LAKISHA, Lakeisha Mack.
That's correct.
All right, what was the rest of that?
And no contact with Eugene Collins.
Eugene Collins.
Judge,
And the state will take into consideration 614535.
All righty. All right, Ms. Collins, how do you make a living?
I work for Invest at a hotel.
And do you have children you support?
No, sir.
0 children. And what is your regular income?
I make $1,100 a month.
Okay. All right. The court grants you 12 months deferred adjudication. You will be fined $200, not 500.
Thank you, Judge.
You will do 60 hours of community service, though.
Okay.
You can work a little bit and pay less money. It's a trade-off. Now, technically, I'm giving you less of a punishment on the fine, but greater punishment on the community service. You can reject it if you choose. We'll let you ask that in a minute. You will participate in and complete the APSE, which is an anti-anger management course. You'll have no contact with Lakeisha Mack, as recited by the state. You'll also have no contact with Eugene Collins. Your supervisory fee will be $25 a month. That is the minimum. I'm not trying to reward you. I'm just trying to be a little bit understanding of your financial situation. In case number 614535, as part of this agreement, is taken in consideration and dismissed. Stick around, you got to put your thumbprint on the papers within 1 week. And you have to visit with Ms. Luna. Yes.
Your Honor, one
Mr.
thing,
Collins.
we are asking that it be transferred to her hometown. I believe she lives in, if I'm correct, Sulphur Springs, Louisiana. LaShawna?
It's Sulphur, Louisiana.
I couldn't hear you, LaShawna.
It's Sulphur, Louisiana.
Because we're asking.
I didn't catch that either. What's the name of it?
Sulphur, Louisiana.
Just Sulphur, Louisiana?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you spell that for us?
SULPHUR.
Like the mineral, Your Honor, sulfur?
Yes. Mhm.
Sulfur.
Zip code is 70665.
Okay, but you didn't finish spelling it for me. Sulfur what?
Louisiana, Your Honor. Just Sulphur, Louisiana.
Just sulfur, okay. Alrighty, 70665. The court approves your residents residing in Sulphur, Louisiana. You're not to move from there unless the court gives you permission. Is that understood?
Yes, sir. That is understood.
All right, good luck to you. Stay out of trouble.
Your
Stick
Honor,
around. Yes,
Your Honor, I'm sorry. Can since she lives in Louisiana, can we go ahead and add the condition to reside in that county in Louisiana and report virtually through Zoom to Bear?
I don't have a problem with that. Make it so, put it on the record.
All right, thank you, Judge.
You're welcome. All right. Mr. Martinez. Where's Mr. Martinez? There he is. Jose Victorino Martinez. You were charged with DWI with extreme intoxication. To that charge, how do you plead? Is there a motion state?
Yes, Your Honor, there's a motion to amend the information, adding count 2 of obstruction of a highway. And then the state would move to waive and abandon count 1 and proceed solely on count 2.
We have no objection, Your Honor.
Will this be a deferred?
It's regular probation.
All right. You're going to proceed on DWI first? Or count 2 is obstruction though, right?
Yes,
Count
Your
2
Honor.
is obstruction, Your Honor.
Okay. And there is no objection then to the amendment. Do you waive the 10-day notice?
We waive the 10-day notice, Your Honor.
All right, then, Mr. Martinez, you're now officially charged with obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. This is a significant improvement over what you had. To that charge, how do you plead, sir?
Guilty. Oh, guilty.
All right. Did anyone threaten you, intimidate you, or promise you anything other than the plea agreement in exchange for your plea of guilty?
No, no, sir.
All right. Based on your plea of guilty, I find you guilty. And what is the agreement on punishment state?
Your Honor, the agreement is 180 days in jail probated for 14 months, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, DWI education program, victim impact panel live, TAP evaluation, and ignition interlock for 7 months.
That is the agreement as we understand it, Your Honor.
All right. Mr. Martinez, tell me how you make a living.
Sorry, Your Honor.
What do you do for a living?
Oh, I do a sheet metal.
Mr. Martinez, tell me how you make a living.
I'm a sheet metal helper right now for Brent Construction.
And what are you paid, sir?
15 an hour. I make around 1,000 a month.
How much do you make per hour?
15 an hour.
$15 an hour.
Yes, sir.
And you're saying you make 1,000 a month?
Around 1,000 a month, yes. Because I'm in the union, so I have to pay them.
I don't know how you figure that, because 40 hours a week is $600 for 1 week.
I think he's talking about his take-home pay, Your Honor.
My take home, yes, sir.
Well, $1,000 ain't take home either. 600 a week times 4 1/3 weeks is
no, I make
$2,600.
I'm sorry, I make around like 500 a week. So,
That's still 2,000.
oh, this is 2,000. Okay. Yeah, like 500 a week. My
Judge,
apologies.
You understand you're on the oath, right?
He's a little nervous, Your Honor.
Yeah, he better be.
Yeah. He's a little
Better
nervous.
be, because he's making $15 an hour, and that's without overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah, he wasn't ready to do math in his.
Yeah, I
in
can
his
tell. He can do math in jail if he's not careful.
head. Understood, Your Honor.
All right, so do you have children that you support?
No, no, Your Honor.
All right. I accept your plea of guilty. I find you guilty. You're fined $180. I'm sorry, your You're sentenced to 180 days, Bear County Jail, suspended for 14 months. So long as you live up to 100% of the conditions of supervision, you will pay a $650 fine. You'll perform 48 hours of community service restitution. You'll complete the DWI education program, the Victim Impact Panel Live, a TAP evaluation and the recommendations subject to my approval. You'll have ignition interlock installed in your vehicle for 7 months continuously. Your supervisory fee will be $38 a month. You will appear in the courtroom, the offices of County Court 5 to have your thumbprint placed on the documents. You'll also wait here to meet with Ms. Maricela Luna so she can explain the probation system. Any questions, sir? You, since I gave you a $650 fine, you have the right to refuse that and start all over again. It's your
No.
call. Let's hear it. Yes or no?
No.
No, you
No.
don't accept it, or no, you're.
Your Honor, he accepts the plea bargain agreement
Oh.
and he does not wish to withdraw his plea.
Okay. Mr. Let's see,
Soto.
Mr. Soto,
Yes, sir.
you were charged with DWI, extreme intoxication. It looks like you got a hell of a deal too.
I have a vehicle.
No, I said you're getting a hell of a deal. A
Oh.
very good deal. To the charge, okay, state, you have a motion, I can see.
Yes, Your Honor, the state moves to amend the information to add count 2, obstruction of a highway, and then waive and abandon count 1 and proceed solely on count 2.
Please have your client's phone number.
That's correct, Judge. No objections.
Address, type it in right here.
All right, which means that this is being reduced not only to DWI 1, but to obstruction. And he's gonna get deferred?
That's correct, Judge.
Hijo, you pulled a rabbit out of that hat, Mr. Montoya.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Soto, to the charge. Oh, wait a minute. Do you object to the motion to amend?
No objection, Your Honor.
And do you waive the 10-day notice of amendment?
Yes, Your Honor.
Very good. Then the court grants the motion. Mr. Soto, you're no longer charged with DWI. You're now charged with obstruction of a passageway, highway, or waterway. To that charge, how do you plead, sir?
No contest, sir.
A no contest plea is considered a guilty plea in this court and is sufficient for me to convict you. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right. I accept your plea of no contest. I find that there's sufficient evidence to find you guilty, but I do not find you guilty. How do you make a living, sir?
I'm a landscaper.
And how much do you make a month?
2,000. More.
You have children you support?
No, sir.
All right. I grant you 12 months deferred adjudication. During that time, you will pay a $500 fine plus court costs. You'll have to do 48 hours of community service restitution. What's the rest of the random UAs? I saw that in the. You'll have to submit random urine samples for testing to make sure you're not drinking or messing around.
Yes,
What
sir.
else do we have? State, what is else the punishment?
Your Honor, so the term is for 12 months deferred adjudication, $500 fine plus court costs, 48 hours community service, random UAs, DWI education program, victim impact panel, and TAP evaluation.
That's correct, Judge.
And what did you say after the DW education? You do what?
Victim impact panel,
Yes, okay.
and then the
Anything
TAP
else?
evaluation. TAP evaluation.
No ignition interlock.
And the ignition interlock will be,
No
6
ignition, no, Your Honor, no ignition interlock. It was a drug-related DWI.
Okay. Did he have strong odor of intoxicants and slurred speech and all that stuff?
I can check, Your Honor.
Let me know later. You know what I'm looking at.
Supervisory fee.
All right. Your supervisory fee, I'm gonna establish at $34 a month. I approve the rest of the punishment, 48 hours community service restitution, random UAs, DWI education to be completed, the victim impact panel program, a TAP evaluation, and the recommendations subject to my approval. All right. Any questions, Mr. Soto?
No, sir.
Mr. Montoya?
No, Judge, the only thing, Your Honor, he doesn't have the $500 upfront to pay for the obstruction. Can he have 30 days to pay it off, or can he have it during the time of the probation?
To pay what?
To pay, I thought he had to pay the upfront obstruction, he had to pay the fine upfront. Can he have the whole term of probation?
No, sir, he's got usually the term of probation.
Okay, Judge, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, you need to go within a week and have your thumbprint placed on the papers, Mr. Soto.
Yes,
in
sir.
the offices here at the courthouse. And also you need to wait around for Ms. Luna to explain to you the probation system. All right.
Yes.
Questions, Mr. Soto?
No, sir.
Mr. Montoya?
No, Judge.
No,
State?
Your
Nada.
Honor.